nothing moves me more than seeing a brand new work. We stand in front of it and go, wow, this is cool. You know, that's the biggest thrill of my life.
And maybe for Cici and Cheech to say something like, okay, we saw that picture of LACMA being tagged by Oscar, and yeah, and I mean, I knew that image before I came to LACMA. It's so powerful as an image of this statement here in Los Angeles of that community. And of course now, it's a little late, but better late than never, right? And here we have many museums, not just LACMA, but others showing this work, and now there's the Cheech. So I know it must feel like it should have been done a long time ago, but it's cool that it's being done now. I don't know, how do you feel, Cici? You've lived through the time, a lot of time of also being not so easy to find in museums.
Well, honestly, the time COVID, the protests, a lot of things started changing during that, I feel, like those 4 years. And I think that we are starting to get recognition, and I really see it, and I see it a little faster than I thought. And that's a really, really good thing to see in, you know, I live in Los Angeles, and to be able to go into a museum and see that is very exciting. Of course, being at the Cheech, I mean, I hear from so many friends, relatives, I mean, it's like their Mecca. I mean, they love coming here. I mean, I don't know if people can, I'm sure a lot of people in this room can feel that, but it's just, it's good for the soul. I mean, it's really, really exciting. I'm glad I'm living in these times to see that change.
So it's true that a lot of art gets recognized a little while after it's made. You can even think of the modern masters, you can think of all that happened in Paris, and it took a minute for it to become that. But I'm so struck in the film by this idea also that Los Angeles has been this environment, maybe not different from Florence in the 16th century or Paris at the early part of this century, but doesn't it feel like something amazing happened in this soup of Southern California in this area, and that this work, I mean, I always feel that this work's gonna be, you know, we're just getting started in how famous it's gonna be.
Yes.
Do you feel that from the inside?
I absolutely feel that. I mean, I feel the energy. And I mean, to be able to walk into LACMA, I mean, I'm a long-time member of LACMA, I have to say, but I'm starting to see the change. And, you know, it should be for all the people, but especially because Los Angeles has such a large population of Latinos and people of color. And we need to see ourselves in those institutions.
Cheech made sure of that first week I was in Los Angeles. I got a call from Cheech, and he marched into my office, and I guess he'd had a little trouble with the previous director and his collection and whatever.
Just a little.
As he described it, I don't know anything about it. But you were, in no uncertain terms, we discussed the importance of your show.
Why, yes.
And maybe you expected more resistance than you got. I mean, it was fantastically
I
fun.
didn't know what to expect when I met you, so I thought, well, but I heard good things about you before I said, so I thought, well, I should bring him a gift as welcome to Los Angeles. So I brought Michael a ukulele with the chord book so he could learn. And it says, welcome to LA, you're gonna learn how to music, and then we became friends there because Michael came in and welcomed all the entities that had been kind of pushed away by previous administrations and weren't recognized as part of the community. And he welcomed those. And that made all the difference in the world. So, we have a friendly person on the board here now that we can come to, and we started working together and doing shows together, and that made all the difference in the world. And right as I was working with Michael to try to establish a Chicano wing, if you were, or a Chicano presence in the LACMA, the Riverside Museum made this offer. I didn't know where to go, so I came to Mike. I told him I've gotten this offer, and I'm going to take it. And so, there's no question. But I still want to work together, so we have been working together I'm on the board now of LACMA as well. And because that's the museum I grew up in. I was, those little kids that all the same color T-shirt, holding hands. That was me, at LACMA. And so that was my home museum, So, it's nice to come that full circle. And I heard from his secretary, one of his secretaries who was working for him along the line, that he said, every once in a while I'm hearing him in his office and he's playing his ukulele. And he knows a couple chords now, so it's when it gets better.
And he describes it as if I had a choice whether it was going to be trending to. And one of the first shows at LACMA was your collection, Cheech, and it was so powerful to set direction for that. And his first gift actually was these little figurines of Cheech and Chong.
Oh.
And before it was legal, they have a little space for your stash. Second compartment. They're still sitting in my office.
It's still
today.
That's what I heard.
So
Everyone's participation and willingness to just give in the moment without any resistance. And also my extraordinary collaborators who are here, a producer, Alessandro Pasquino, and our DP, Matthew Wilder, and our editor, Edgar Sardarian. And so the team is really, really important. I would acknowledge them. And PBS SoCal and the team there. It's amazing. And Melissa has been instrumental.
all of that.
So that has made it, helped a lot. Also, I've always been a passionate, avid admirer of art, and art, I've painted myself, and to me, filmmaking is an art form as well, so there's some common ground there and common understanding. And as I was speaking with the mayor, while we're talking about Chicana art, I do have a connection to that world. My husband's father is Chicano, and so my children have that blood in them too. So I do feel a connection with it. But also art, there's such a universal aspect to art. And art is a place where we can all meet, no matter where we come from, no matter what our blood lineage is, our gender, whatever identity we have. It is within art where we can all meet and find a common ground. And that's why I think it's so important. And that's part of what I wanted to convey with this piece, is to have it be universally appealing, while very specific to the Chicano experience, but yet something bigger. And also I thought it was a great opportunity to show all the different touch points in the artist's journey. There's the gallery and the gallerist, there's the museum, there's the collector, there are the artists and all the different things the artists go through and experience, and why they make the work they make, and what, different forms they use, and also the generational aspect of it and the changes that are taking place. So it's just all those things were of great interest to me, and with my amazing collaborators, somehow it was meant to be, and it all came together.
So I gave as many of the masterpieces of Chicano art that I had in my possession to the museum so that you all could see it anytime you want to come and walk into the museum. So it was, but there was another part of Chicano art and the Chicano identity that came out when I was watching this picture. It's a certain amount of defiance in the work. But there's a certain amount of speaking out against something that they don't like, and something that they think that should be changed. And when we did our first show in San Antonio on a Chicano Visions tour, and there was a big controversy because there was a certain part of the community that the academic community said Chicano art should only be political art. And that thing went back and forth. And so there was two sides that were very vociferous about it. And so I saw that they were saying, so tomorrow at 9 o'clock in the morning, and I did it for 9 o'clock to weed out a lot of people that were going to get up that early. And I said, especially Chicanos on Saturday, come on. and I said, anybody's got anything to say on the subject, we're going to say it, come into the hall. And so we had a dais of different museum people and artists, and we took questions from it. And the audience was really divided between young and old, the veteranos and the young artists who just wanted to have their art shown, and they went back and forth all day. And so at the end of the day, John Valadez, who we saw in the documentary, he was on the dais. And this one older lady who looked like she had seen everything Chicano in her life. And she said, I have one question for John Valadez. And it says, considering what you've heard today, do you still consider yourself a Chicano artist? And he thought for a minute, looked up at the sky and says, only if it bothers you.
That's a good one.
John Valadez became my hero. Yeah, he cared. It was supposed to bother you. That was the last big. It's supposed to taste hot as chile. I thought it was just a color. No, that's. But that is kind of one of the essences of Chicano art. It wanes and waxes between artists or what time they come up. Because my generation was the first generation of Chicano kids that there was a real big chance of them all going to college. For the first time. They were going to, all my generation, all my cousins, we all went to college. And so they saw this bigger world and they figured they could be a part of it. And so that's where the Chicano spirit came from. Hey, basta, we're not taking this shit anymore, and we're going to do something else. Only if it bothers you. And so that's part of that. It comes and it rears its head every once in a while. Right now. But it is a good sign that thing keeps reoccurring, because it's like chile. You should taste it. And you always can tell, you can always tell where they come from, is how they pronounce los cochinos. Los chicanos. In France, they're the chicanos. We're the chicanos. And they like us a lot. So it's interesting to see that process go out.
Okay, that's a very good point. In fact, what you're talking about too, about this idea of artists, whether they're Chicano, Chicana, or just part of our art world, that was the conversation we had when this museum came up. And Cheech and I were talking about this fact, that there's room for both, and it's really ideal. So our partnership, because LACMA will continue to have a partnership with Riverside Museum, that's the plan, and we're going to have a back and forth. And so it's really the best of all worlds to have the Cheech here, your collection, this focus of that explosive history that we're just watching as it keeps going, and then to have this dialogue with LACMA, the Museum of Everything, that looks as crazy and mixed up as all of Los Angeles. And it is a good thing, because you heard in the movie so many times that artists and others, they find their way to art at museums. That's why we do build them. And I've had my own misgivings about museums as I was growing up. I didn't love them all. I always loved art. And I think we're getting to this place where we're finally learning maybe how to negotiate these worlds and provide art in all these different contexts.
You see it in LACMA. I mean, you see it because I've watched LACMA since I was a kid. That was a museum I went to. But something's come into the museum that all the museums, not the staff, but a lot of people in the museum hated it when it first came in. Oh, I don't want that big rock here. They're going to build a rock in the and now everybody loves it. Or the light poles. That's the greatest example. The light poles in the front of the museum. They hated it when it first came in. You can go in there at 4 o'clock in the morning and see 20 people in there getting their picture taken with their kids running around. And it's become the landmark of Los Angeles that they hated. So maybe Chicano art will be the landmark of Los Angeles that they hated but now they love.
It will be. So I guess I have to say, as a citizen also of this place. The Cheech means so much to me. What you've done here in Riverside Art Museum, the Cheech, to bring all this together. Thank you to the mayor, to the museum. I feel lucky to be able to go to the museum. And I always say there's just one level up higher than museum director, and that's museum visitor. That's the highest level. And to be able to visit this place ongoing is so exciting, and I think for all of us. So I want to thank the three of you. We wouldn't be here without artists. Cici, you're the reason we're all here. We wouldn't be able to bring those works into the public realm without collectors and people who care. And Varda's spreading the word worldwide, locally and worldwide, of what's going on. Tell all your friends to watch the premiere on Friday evening, is that correct?
October 4th.
8 o'clock, and then it will be available so that story will be told again and again. So thank you all for being here.
Thank you very much.
Esther, wait.